You enter too abruptly, as if someone were pushing you from behind. The door closes almost silently, but the very sound of its hidden click seems to rip through the air. The room greets you with a coldness that doesn't attempt to frighten you. It simply registers a fact. Only those who have long sought answers to questions they usually run from it are here. You feel the pressure of the space, as if the walls are leaning slightly inward, as if the room is watching you closely. It knows why you're here, even if you don't yet know yourself. There's emptiness before you, but it's a deception. The room is setting the stage. It inhales. You exhale. First, a line appears. Straight, thin, as if cut with a blade. The line cuts through the floor, then the walls, finally the air. And the room divides into two realities, two worlds, two destinies, two outcomes of the same story, which begins the same but ends completely differently. To the left, a soft golden light. It doesn't blind, it warms. This is the light of a kitchen where two people talk in the evening without raising their voices. The light of rooms where no one is afraid to enter. The light of apartments where there's room to breathe. To the right is a gray fog, thick, viscous, as if the air is colored by something people usually don't say. This is the light of houses where no one has touched each other sincerely for a long time, where silence is louder than blows, where even presence has become absence. You are right between them, and the room doesn't just show, it makes you feel. The left half, what a couple that survives looks like. A couple appears in front of you on the left. They sit next to each other. They look ordinary, almost bored, if you look with your eyes. But the room doesn't let you look with your eyes. It forces you to look deeper. You hear the silence around them, and it surprises you. It's not an empty silence, not cold, not heavy. It's a silence you can sink into like warm water. She tells him, I was worried yesterday when you left without explaining why. He replies, it was really hard for me to talk. Thank you for telling me. I didn't mean to hurt you. And the room seems to smile with golden light. Because here lies the main rule of surviving love. They don't defend themselves from each other. They hold on to the relationship, not the ego. You see not one scene, but dozens. Flashbacks run parallel. Evenings where they talk. Mornings where they argue, but don't humiliate. Days when they're both hurt, but they don't break the connection to make life easier. The room shows you tiny moments, the ones they usually ignore. He moves the mug closer to her, even when he's angry. She touches his shoulder, even when she's hurt. They make small gestures that save relationships when words fail. You feel the vibration of their honesty. She's not perfect. She's alive. That's what keeps her going. The right half. What a couple looking like when quietly falling apart. Now the room pulls you to the right. There's also a couple there. Also a man and a woman. Also a story that once began with laughter, warmth, and light texts in the evening. But now there's heaviness. Her face is calm, but this calm is like stone. His voice is even, but this evenness is a shield, not sincerity. She says, "You forgot to call again." He replies, "And again, you making a big deal out of nothing." Every word is a small blow they've long since stopped noticing. Every silence is a wall growing between them. The fog around them thickens. The room intensifies the feeling. No one here has looked at each other for a long time. They talk to their fears, not to each other. He's afraid of being insufficient, so he pretends not to care. She's afraid of being rejected, so she hides her feelings until they freeze. You see flashbacks overlapping like broken film. Days when he chose work over conversation. Nights when she cried in the shower so as not to wake him. Arguments where each said not what they felt, but what hurt most. The room draws a conclusion for them, cruel but accurate. They have ceased to be allies. They have become enemies without even realizing it. When both realities converge, suddenly the room ceases to divide space. Light and fog begin to converge, and you understand these are not two different couples. They're the same path, branching in different directions. You see how small choices create enormous consequences. How the phrase, "I'm in pain," can save a family. How the phrase, "you again," can destroy it. You feel that the room doesn't just show, it warns. It reveals what is usually hidden behind closed doors. It speaks to you in a language of images that are impossible to forget. And you understand its central whisper. The fate of a couple is not destiny. It is hundreds of small decisions, invisible from the outside. You stand between two fates, and the room slowly draws them closer, as if it wants you to see not the difference, but the mechanism. The light dims for a second, then comes back on, but now it's neither warm nor cold. It's neutral, hard, like a surgical lamp. The room turns into an operating room where dissect doesn't mean a body, but a relationship. It's about to show you what happiness is made of and what destruction is. You feel the air grow thicker, as if reality itself wants to draw your attention to something usually ignored. And then the room creates two silhouettes before you. One couple divided into two versions. Not two different stories. One route, one dialogue, one moment that can turn life left or right. The room reenacts the scene. You see them both sitting on the couch. There's silence between them. Not an unpleasant silence, just the silence after a hard day. She looks at him. He looks tired. Something upsets her. Her first thought is, did something happen? But in that same second, a second one appears. Is it because of me? And then, pay attention. The room freezes. The scene splits in two. Option one, they choose honesty. She takes a slow breath and says, "You seem a bit tense. Is everything okay?" He looks down as if embarrassed by his own weakness. "It's really hard for me. I'm afraid I'm not enough for you." She doesn't smile, doesn't rush to console him. She simply hears, "Thank you for telling me." And something softly settles between them like an invisible blanket. Warmth, connection, the feeling that they are holding one side, not their own, but theirs. The room intensifies the vibration of light. For the first time in a long time, you feel in this space hope. Option 2, they choose defense. And now, the same scene, but one different answer. She says, "You seem tense. Are you okay?" He senses a threat where there isn't one. Is it starting again? Stop controlling me. Her heart sank, not because he's rude, but because she doubts again. Maybe there really is something wrong with me? The room turns gray, not flashy, tired. This is what love looks like when it begins to fade before anyone notices. Part 2, the deep mechanisms of two fates. The room brings both options closer together, almost connecting them, and suddenly you understand. People think couples break up because of betrayals, dramas, blows, catastrophes. But no, most break up quietly, almost unnoticed, every day, in small things. The room creates three figures before you. They look like shadows, but within them beats a pulse. These are the three forces that determine the fate of a couple. 1. Vulnerability. The shadow slowly raises its head. This isn't weakness. It's the ability to admit, I'm scared. I'm in pain. This matters to me. The couples on the left allow themselves this. The couples on the right hide it. Every time one pretends not to care, the other hears only cold. And the cold gradually turns to ice. 2. Interpretations. The room draws words above the shadows. Some hear, he's tired. Others, he's angry with me. Some hear, she's worried. Others, she's unhappy with me. One meaning, but a different interpretation, a different fate. The room whispers. Words don't break relationships. Their meaning is in the partner's head. 3. Micro decisions. The room reveals thousands of small gestures. Someone moves closer. Someone turns away. Someone asks. Someone accuses. Someone listens. Someone defends himself. You see how a single nothing can lead to them becoming strangers a year later, and how a single "I'm sorry" can restore trust that seemed dead. The room speeds up time. The space inside you trembles. The room wants you to see everything at once. It triggers two destinies, like fast forwarding a tape. Destiny 1, the one that holds on. You see from the inside, they argue, sometimes intensely, sometimes painfully, but they both hold on to one thought. We are on the same side of the issue. He learns to speak, even when he fears his emotions will seem weak. She learns not to disappear silently, even when it hurts. They grow, not just together, but individually. That's why relationships survive. Not because they're perfect, because they're willing to fix, not throw away. Destiny 2 is the one that breaks. Here, everything looks different. They argue too, sometimes intensely, sometimes painfully, but each of them believes, you are my enemy. He closes down to protect himself. She presses to test her love. And in the end, each gets confirmation of their fears. I'm not loved. I'm not appreciated. There's something wrong with me. The room shows the ending which sends shivers down your spine. They sit next to each other, but there's a distance between them that neither can cross first. Not because he doesn't love, but because he's too tired to be afraid.